Murya cikin nazari.
Hello viewer, today is Monday 18th September 2023, which is equivalent to the 3rd of Rabiul Awwal 1445 after Hijrah. Welcome to the news on Unity TV, JAWS. The headlines: Tinubu jets out to the United States for 76th UNGA. Marketers eye fresh fuel price hike as crude hits $94. UniJAWS has crushed school fees, says Vice Chancellor. On the international scene, 18 civilians killed by militias in the Democratic Republic of Congo. While in sports, Trossard to the rescue as Arsenal beat Everton 1-0. Those were the headlines, and for their details and other stories, my name is Shoaibu Doro. President Bola Tinubu has left Nigeria for the United States to attend the 78th United Nations General Assembly. The presidential media aide, Ajuri Ngelale, in a statement on Sunday, said the event will be Tinubu's first UNGA meeting since he assumed office as president in May. He is expected to hold bilateral meetings with various world leaders, including the President of the United States, Joe Biden, and von der Leyen, President of the European Union Commission, on the sidelines of the summit. Ngelale also disclosed that the President would meet with Brad Smith, Global President of Microsoft, and Nick Clegg, Head of Global Affairs for Meta Technologies, among others. He is also expected to deliver his inaugural national statement on the floor of the UN headquarters on September 19. The Nigerian president will also address American business leaders at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and conduct the NASDAQ closing ceremony. Tinubu will be the first African president to do so at the session, which will be held from September 18th to 26th in New York. President Bola Tinubu has appointed 2 new ministers in charge of the Ministry of Youth, Dr. Jamila Bio Ibrahim and Mr. Ayodele Olawande. While Ibrahim will serve as the Minister of Youth, Olawande will be the new Minister of State for Youth. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, has said. The presidential spokesperson stated that appointments are subject to confirmation by the Senate. The latest appointments bring the number of ministers in the Tinubu cabinet to 47. The rise in the cost of crude oil to about $94 per barrel, coupled with the depreciation of the naira against the United States dollar to 950 per dollar, might lead to hike in the pump price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, oil marketers stated on Sunday. Dealers in the downstream oil sector explained that the costs of crude oil and the exchange rate of the dollar accounted for over 80% of the cost of PMS, noting that these had warranted a gradual increase in the amount being quietly spent as subsidy on petrol by the federal government. Although the federal government and its Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited had insisted that subsidy on petrol had ended following the deregulation of the downstream oil sector, operators insisted on Sunday that the government was implementing quasi-subsidy. They explained that with the latest rise in crude oil price, the cost of petrol was meant to increase, stressing that if the government insists on leaving the commodity at 617 naira per litre, then subsidy on PMS had been returned quietly. The marketers explained that in July, when the cost of petrol was raised to 617 naira per litre, crude oil traded around $82 per barrel, while the exchange rate was not as high as 950 per dollar at the parallel market. The federal government has invited the Nigerian Labour Congress over the union's plan to go on indefinite strike, while the NLC is planning a nationwide shutdown owing to the removal of fuel subsidy and the hardship in the country. Labour and Employment Minister Simon Lalong has invited them for discussions. The ministry's Director of Press and Public Relations, Olajide Oshundun, in a statement on Sunday, said the minister directed the Department of Trade Unions, Services and Industrial Relations to convene a meeting with the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress. Today, Monday, 18th September 2023, noting that it was important that the unions sit with the government to resolve all pending matters to avert further disruption to the economy. The minister reiterated President Bola Tinubu's government's commitment to always engage the organized labor and respond to its concerns after due consultation and negotiations. The lawmaker representing Adamawa North Senatorial District, Senator Ishaku Abo, has asserted that the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, along with his associates, were the ones who disseminated the story about his rumored intention to impeach him. Abo further added that the narrative was purportedly orchestrated by the Senate President to create discord between President Bola Tinubu and northern politicians. Newsmen report that Akpabio has strongly denied allegations of an impending impeachment against him. He labeled these reports as both malicious and untrue. There were media reports on Saturday stating that plans were on the way to unseat Akpabio as the president of the 10th Senate when the Senate reconvenes on September 26, 2023. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Adiwula, will on Wednesday, September 20, swear in 9 newly appointed justices of the Court of Appeal. The new appellate court justices are to be inaugurated at the main court auditorium of the Supreme Court of Nigeria in Abuja. A statement by the Supreme Court Director of Press and Information, Festus Akande, says that the CJN will swear them in by 11 a.m. Meanwhile, Justice Amina Adamu Ogie will formally retire from the Supreme Court bench on Thursday, 21st September 2023, having attained the mandatory retirement age of 70 years on Sunday, 3rd September 2023. Reprieve has come for protesting students of the University of Jos as its Vice-Chancellor, Professor Tanko Ishaya, on Saturday announced that the institution had crashed its fees. According to him, the decision to reduce the fees followed a series of negotiations between UniJos authorities, students, and other stakeholders. He also stated that electricity had returned to the institution since last week, about 3 months after being thrown into darkness by the Jos Electricity Distribution Company. The Vice-Chancellor stated this in a telephone interview with newsmen a few days after the students blocked roads leading to the campus in protest following an increase in school fees and other services rendered by the institution. We'll take you to the foreign scene. 18 civilians and 1 soldier have been killed in attacks by militia groups in western DR Congo, where sectarian violence has flared since June 2022, government officials said on Sunday. The civilians were killed in the village of Finai in Kimvula, around 190 kilometers southeast of the capital Kinshasa, allegedly by the Mobondo militia last Monday, government spokesman Patrick Muyaya said after a government cabinet meeting. He said 1 soldier had also been killed and another was still missing alongside the 18 civilians killed, adding that the village had been burned. The sectarian violence in the region had waned in recent months before flaring in March, with attacks targeting the Tafe community by groups not originally from the area. When I look at sports, Arsenal extended their winning record to 4 games in 5 matches as they defeated Everton at Goodison Park. A 69th minute strike from Leandro Trossard secured 3 points for Mikel Arteta's side after their last win on home soil against Manchester United before the international break. In the 32nd minute, new Arsenal goalkeeper David Raya made his debut as he stood to the challenge when he saved a low of effort from Gueye. And that brings us to the end of the news at 12 on Unity TV. Thank you for staying tuned. Have yourselves a wonderful day.